We're in Adelaide. We're South Australia. We're not in Adelaide, technically, are we?
Mount Baker.
Mount Barker.
Mount Barker.
Yes, and we are recording from Enduro Builders Passive House.
Certified
Passive House.
Display home.
And obviously this is the mobile Pro Climber
Studio. Yeah, so we're up here for a night. We've got an event tonight with Climasure and Enduro Builders. It's going to be fun, hey?
It's going to be really good. And sold out tonight too.
Yeah.
So this room's going to be jam-packed full of 20 or 30 people. I hope the HRV works.
Yeah, I think Jackson forgot the boost switches.
You don't need them.
Today we're joined by Jackson. Jackson, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Obviously, we've known each other for a long time. Mm-hmm. In fact, we did the Passive House.
That's when we met at the Tradioffs.
Oh, you did your Passive House course together?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, I always say to people that Hamish and I bonded over a dislike of idiots.
Jackson, thanks for joining us. Do you want to let everyone know who you are and what you do? And
I'm the owner of Enduro Builders and Climasure. So Enduro Builders, we specialise in building energy efficient homes and building to the certified Passive House standard. We've been going now for 10 years, and we do about 25 projects a year. And we're still growing. So I've got a fantastic team of guys now. We've got 17 of us.
Are they new homes, all of them, or anything?
There's a mixture of addition renos and new homes. We'd love to make our mix more new home, but there's so many houses that we come across that they're worth saving and they're worth improving.
Yeah. Is it pretty much as long as the project's profitable, ticks the criteria of high performing, you'll take it on?
Yeah, if people want to improve the quality of the thermal envelope of the house and their comfort, and it's a project where we know we can add value, then we're happy to do it.
Yeah.
I'm also the owner of Climasure. So I set Climasure up because as I got into Passive House, I got into Pro Climber.
Yeah.
And we were the biggest client in the state, also the only client. And we were I got introduced to Thomas back then. And started the business as a separate business. And so we provide, we obviously sell Pro Climber membranes. We sell a bunch of ancillary stuff that goes with it, and provide consulting to builders and architects on what we do. And that business is mainly run by Jess, who everyone's pretty familiar with.
And so is this the house we're sitting in now? Is this your first Passive House, or?
This was this was the first certified Passive House that we built.
Wow. We
had a couple of houses beforehand that were not certified, but we did everything that you would do. It was, when did we do this? 2022 did this house.
And how many certified projects now?
Good question. We do about 3 or 4 a year. So we'd be nudging 10 now.
Yeah, awesome.
Yep.
I actually love when you introduced Enduro Builders before, you actually said we build energy efficient homes before Passive House.
Yep.
Which, and I don't want to ruffle any feathers in the Passive House space.
I will.
We're past that, aren't we?
We're very much past that. But I actually really like that because in my opinion, makes your product or what you do as a business much more open to a broader part of the community. And I know, having chats with you over the years, you're quite an ambitious person. And I think if you set out to build 100 certified passive homes a year, you'd never hit it.
There's a pause there.
Not in the next 12 months.
Okay.
So maybe in the next 10 years.
So the goal is
certified buildings?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But in the next 10 years, I think that's that goal, which I've shared a lot, is still a goal. But I'm realistic about it's not going to happen quickly, and it's certainly not going to happen while the cost base is still just a bit too high for it to be something that everyone would look at.
So just to get on the record here, one of your goals is to build 100 certified passive homes in a year.
Yep. And I reckon it'll take me 10 years to get to that.
So it's an extra 10 per year.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're talking about certified buildings. So he does 25 homes a year at the moment, not certified buildings, 3 or 4. To actually get it, how many passive homes do you build a year? Certified buildings.
Oh, 2?
Yeah, I reckon 1 or 2 for me. Not turning over the same volume as
Yeah.
Jackson, but if everyone came to me, well, I don't think we would have a viable business, if we were just saying we only build certified passive home builders, passive homes.
I
Yeah,
reckon.
I agree.
I
But that's
don't
why
know.
I say 10 years.
That's-
It's
yeah,
not
but
a-
But is that an
I really-
education thing? I
I
reckon you would. It might not be at the scale, but I think there's such an appetite. Like I look at all my projects that I've even got in pre-construction.
Yeah, I
All of them are going for certification.
Yeah, I agree, but we're talking about 100.
Yeah, but as sort of, it's a marketing thing. Man.
Anyway, I hope you do it. I'm
No,
not
but like
saying
it's a-
not. I think if anyone's going to do it, I reckon.
But it's a good segment. It's a good actual conversation because we don't plan anything what we're going to talk about. But you talk about the cost of building here.
Yep.
It's everywhere right now with the war in Iran. But is it actually that more expensive? And because there's no one's done any study or any data around it. It's just, yeah, it is.
I don't know where to start answering that question. I can answer all the bits of it
Yeah.
because we looked at this house and we obviously had very detailed costing information, and we were able to identify that it was about 50 grand.
Over how much? What was the build cost?
At the time that we built it,
Yeah.
it was about 650 grand.
So what's that? An extra?
Cost to build?
Is that 5% more? Is that maths off the top of my head?
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah,
And obviously, as the house gets bigger, so there's a few things as the house gets bigger, the cost to convert it from just a high efficiency house where we still get under 3 air changes,
Yeah.
to a certified passive house, you're pretty much talking about adding an internal membrane on the walls because our high efficiency spec we go across the ceiling with Intello, and a couple of things to do with insulating under slabs goes from optional to mandatory, and if a handful of bits and bobs with glazing and the like, plus the consultants and certifying fees. But on a 2-story building, that jump is a lot smaller in price because you can do just the basics. Like we're sitting in a room here, that ceiling is fixed below the rafters, so there's no space for
Intello.
your HRV ducts. There's Intello there,
But okay.
but the HRV ducting is all run through the floors.
I have noticed that, yeah.
Yeah, so you spend a bit more money on your floor structure because you're doing trusses, but you're not blowing out the cost in a big way.
Just want to, you said something before that in your high efficiency homes, and after this question, I just want you to maybe talk about the different levels of homes that you build in Enduro Builders. Mm-hmm. But first question is the reason you're doing it in the ceiling just because that's where you're seeing most of your vapour movement? That's where you see most of the risk? Or is it a mould and condensation?
Jess.
Risk mitigation, or
Is
is
this
it
a Jess question?
or is it airtightness?
So it's primarily to do with how we get air tightness to the level that we do. So there's also a practical part. So because you wouldn't spend money on Intello unless it made practical sense in a house where you don't have to have it.
Yep.
So with high efficiency homes, we focus on the membrane on the outside doing the air tightness work.
Yep.
Then the reason for having Intello across the ceiling is that we use it to separate the insulation above from the conditioned space below, and then we batten it all so it's all supported, and then we drop the ceiling off that. So all of our high efficiency houses with 2.7 metre high ceilings will have 3 metre high walls, because then you drop the ceiling and all of your ductwork goes into that drop. And it is just a good way of separating the two. And we looked at doing it with plasterboard. And we did build a house with plasterboard.
Airtight plasterboard air tightness, that is. You've got plasterboard here.
Yeah, so we're not using the plasterboard for air tightness. We're basically using the plasterboard, or in all the homes we build now, Intello, to hold the insulation up.
Yeah.
And make sure that there's no free air movement between air rising up through the ceiling
Yeah.
and and the insulation. And there's also then at the very end of all of that, and this is where lots of people are going to go, "Oh, you can't do that," but actually you can. You just have to calculate it. Is that the Intello does reduce the amount of moisture going into the roof space, which is completely sealed because we're relying on the membrane to go around the outside, and there's essentially that moisture that goes up into the ceiling space. You got to make sure that the Mento has got enough vapor transportability to take that moisture out. So if you can start off by reducing the amount getting in.
So just for clarity, you're saying that you're comfortable putting your insulation essentially in a cold roof scenario rather than pushing your insulation to the top of the... Yeah, okay.
I'm the same too.
Roof trusses, which then brings the cost down.
Yep.
But it does also mean that it becomes a performance solution.
Yep.
It doesn't.
Have you had that signed off as a performance solution yet?
No. So what I've done is I've done the calcs.
Yeah.
And waiting for the day that a certifier says,
you can't do
"How
that.
are you doing that?" And they were like, "Here's the performance solution, and we're validating it via calculation."
But there's no way to calculate a 3D structure for that, isn't it? Isn't that the whole issue with WIP that you can't actually simulate?
Yeah. So it's the way I've done it is in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, okay.
Because you work out the volume, then you work out at the different temperatures how much moisture's in there.
Yeah.
And then you calculate how much moisture makes it out through the membrane, and then as long as the amount that gets out is greater than the amount going in.
Can you sign off on a performance solution as a builder? Wouldn't you not have to give that to a building surveyor or to a engineer or someone?
No, so we can do all the calculations, and as long as a certifier is comfortable that
that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can always go to a third party.
Yeah.
And we could go to someone like Jesse Clark, and I could give him the spreadsheet if the certifier was really
not happy.
Yeah, if they're not happy about it, you just go to a third party and say, "Here's all my calcs."
Yeah. Interesting.
Have I made an error?
Because I build the same as you. I hate that rule where you got to wrap it, like leave
You
the
got a
loop.
ventilator.
Yeah. I just think it, to me, is in my limited knowledge, it's an easy cop out way to not solve the problem but do something about it.
Yeah, yeah. And the tricky bit is what I'm talking about. It moves you into building stuff that is performance solutions, which are you have to really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And be able to like provide calculation or provide some evidence that you've stepped it through kind of in an engineering manner to prove that you didn't just stand there on site one day and go, "I would just give that a go. She'll be right. We'll call it a performance solution." That's not how that works.
Yeah, I suppose the calculations is the hard. So a lot of the projects we're having come up, we're just saying we want rafters or parallel trusses, just to prevent that issue, and we'll just fill the whole bay with insulation.
Yeah,
but I want to go back.
We're doing warm roofs. Before you ask your question, I just want to. So you talked before about one of the particular products that you deliver, and that's a high efficiency home.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the other like homes that you build? Like because there's a tier, like there's a hierarchy of different. Energy
I can talk about One thing I'll say before that, with building code, there is also a thing in the building code that does allow for signing off of performance solutions by a suitably qualified person, which includes a builder, because I signed off an Earthship waterproofing system in Victoria because the building surveyor was like, "This will never work, blah, blah, blah." And I've seen it work all over the world. And the surveyor that was engaged by the client said, "Oh, there's this thing in the code. I can't remember the specifics of it, but it's quite clear, and it does allow for, it's kind of like a catch-all, but obviously you would never sign one of them unless you were 100% confident, because if it ever fails..."
You're liable.
Yes, I am.
Are you 100% certain that roof system works? I am too, but it ultimately is like, there's still some people on the fence about it that are pretty smart.
Yeah, but there's a difference between people that are willing to take calculated risks and people that are not willing to take any risk at all. And unfortunately, what we find a lot in this world is that people that are not willing to take a risk at all often get their opinions heard and followed through on. And that's why there's always room for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But there's also always room and opportunity for, in any industry, for anyone to do something if they're willing to just take a bit of calculated risk.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
I think because like ultimately you have Intello and you've got a mechanical ventilation.
Well, that's the other thing. You have when
Yes.
you add into it HRV.
Yeah, you're pretty safe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it without a HRV. I wouldn't sign off in that part then. I feel like that just becomes, you're relying on clients.
There's a lot more moisture going up there.
Yeah.
And I've only ever calculated with the HRV scenario, so I couldn't even tell you because I've just not done it.
Yeah, okay.
But
Going back though, because it sort of ties into the conversation still, we talk about the cost of passive houses and still on airtightness. I'd say that's really the only extra cost. Like you're going to pay a little bit more for some extra insulation, but I'd say the major cost is actually wrapping internally airtight.
Yeah.
I'd say that, and then internally batten. That's where.
Well, it depends what you're comparing it to as well.
This is the great answer.
So, like Hamish was asking, what are the 3 standards that you build to at Enduro? Which is kind of how you asked it. So we have a certified passive house, which is very clear. Everyone knows what that is. High efficiency, and then energy efficient house. So high efficient homes, we achieve between 1.5 and 3 air changes per hour.
Yep.
And for all of our levels, we put the air tightness that we'll achieve in the contract.
Even on a retrofit, if you're not taking the whole building apart, or is that separate?
Yeah, so if we're doing reno additions, they generally will fall into the energy efficient spec.
Yep.
Sometimes, because there's always little steps in between.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll do an energy efficient one, but we'll put decentralized HRVs in the addition, for instance. So it's like an energy efficient house with a twist. But we actually have them as written standards in the business so that all of our salespeople, designers, estimators, they know like this is the baseline for this standard that we need to include and we need to design for and all of that.
So you're design and construct as well?
Yes.
Why? You could just say it as it is.
Back to the beginning. So I started the business with a really strong intention to work with architects and just work with architects, build great homes, build energy efficient homes. Then I started to grow the business, started to find that I was sending a lot of work to architects. They were occasionally losing those clients for me. And then they weren't keeping up with the workload I was sending them. So we had a couple of more straightforward jobs come through and I designed them and quickly worked out that I love the idea of designing, but it's not my skill set. And started to see that one benefit was the design came in on the client's budget. It moved through the process from design to costing to approvals to contract really smoothly. And the client paid a lot less to get exactly what they wanted in terms of design fees.
So you're saying architects don't design to budget?
I'm saying that they miss more often than they hit. And
Fuck about you, Poker Bear.
And the thing is, though, I'm not saying anything that I haven't said directly to architects.
Yeah.
And often it's in the same conversation as I say, I would love to work with you, and I want to help you look good.
Yeah.
But you have to take on our advice. And there are architects that we do work with. So we design and build, but there's 2 architects in Adelaide that we will work with.
Yeah.
Because they don't just pay lip service to collaboration, they actually do it. And to the point where I'll go down to their office and sit there drafting on their computers with them, working in their Revit file to get the details nutted out. So
that's awesome. I think that's, I love that. It's just not lip service collaboration because it is, that's the thing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's very common thing.
It's easy to use all the words. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm an energy efficient builder. I'm like, cool. So do you put airtightness in your contracts? Oh, no, I can't do that. Well, do you use double glazing? No, sometimes. Do you use thermally broken windows? Oh, no, they're too expensive.
How do you use modelling to optimise your buildings? Oh,
Yeah,
never
there's
done
Oh,
another
but
great
check
question.
out the kitchen design. How cool is it?
Yes. So there's, I haven't posted it yet, but we had a situation just before Easter in a passive house. Not that it really matters, but it was a passive house that we handed over. They are on a rural property, so that water comes from a tank and it's got to get pumped. The pump's brand new, been used for maybe 2 weeks before we handed over, and the pump stopped working. And so we rang the pump supplier and got a problem with the pump. And they're like, oh, we just take it off, bring it back to us, we'll have a look at it, and we'll fix it up, and then we'll get it back to you. And like, how long is that going to take? Oh, a couple of weeks. Like, well, we can't. No, they're living in the house.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's what you got to do. So, my idea of customer service
it's not that.
is that we went off and bought another pump. We went down, took the dodgy pump off, put the brand new one on, and we're off getting that one fixed. And when it's done, they'll get that pump back, and we'll take the pump that we bought away, and that'll sit in the shed until that happens again, because I'm sure it'll happen again. And that meant that client was without water for about 30 minutes while we switched it all over. And what I know is I hear stories where some builders would just go, okay, well, no worries, sorry you're without water, but you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And not care about it.
And then they blame that passive house doesn't work. But which is the case of the water pump has nothing to do with the passive house element.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a. Why would they? I just don't understand why they go. Yeah, hey, we'll bring you out another one. Just change it over, and we'll take the old one back.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there on this date with a new pump, and we'll take the other one away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
We'll just give you a new one.
It's just simple because are you going to buy a pump from these guys again?
No, they're done. And that's one thing that, like, our really good trades, they know that, if they do good work, charge a fair price, don't let us down.
It's money for Gem.
They have an income for life from us. And the ones that just don't care about it, and it's always swings and roundabouts. I'm sure there are days where our trades cop it and maybe don't make as much off a job that they thought they would, but then there's probably other days where they have an absolute dream run and they're like, oh, I allowed that to take 20 hours and it took me 18 and I get a little win. So it's always swings and roundabouts.
Are you putting HRVs in all of your buildings?
Not quite, but the percentage is jumping up a lot.
Yeah.
As we've worked out lots of different ways to do it that are economical, and I've worked really hard on educating my team on like how to talk about these things better, so that clients feel a lot more or have a lot more understanding of what they're about to spend money on and how it benefits them.
This is a good topic because sales, and I don't think we ever really talk about marketing of passive house and high performance, whatever you want to call it, but sales is a whole different thing because I constantly get on social media, kids reach out, I shouldn't say kids, people, and they're like, oh, I can't convince the client to use the ProClimber membrane. I'm like, just don't tell them. Like, do we need to tell them they're getting a HRV?
Make it a standard.
Like, do we need to talk to just be like, hey, do you want clean, fresh air? Yes. Okay, we put one in. Do you want it? No. Okay, we won't put one in.
Yeah.
Is it really, do we just overcomplicate it?
Yeah, I've definitely done that journey where I've talked too much to clients about the technical stuff.
We all do though.
And
I actually think that's the biggest failing in marketing of high performance and passive house.
Yeah.
We get excited about that shit, but I'd say that if you want to build 100 passive houses in a year, if you got stuck in the weeds and started talking to them about all the
you
data,
don't have time to do it.
we don't have time to do it.
Yeah.
And people probably don't give a shit either.
Yeah.
So
They just want to know they're comfortable and they want the emotion of the health and comfort. Like, so I live in one. I've come. Did you know that, Hamish?
I did it. You was on ground design.
Yeah, I
So
know.
that's just celebrity.
You know what? I'm going to stop.
So
using
I've
that
come.
joke
So I've
'cause
left this morning. I left the house about 4:30 this morning
Yeah.
to get the flight here. Outside was 8 degrees, 10 degrees. I had no idea because you walk out and then we come here. We're in the airport. It's nice and warm. Then we're in a passive house now, and the level of comfort is just like cool. I'm so much happier again in here.
Yeah.
You can't describe it. It's weird.
So just an observation. When we came in here, no one living in here.
Yeah.
Right? So I walked in. I'm like, okay, cool. It's nice in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as we've been in here, this is probably how a passive house works. As we've been in here, the temperature's actually risen a little bit.
Yeah, we're
because
moving
we're
around.
in here and we're existing and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So like the 30 people that are coming tonight, that's like running the 3 kilowatt split system on a heater. That's exactly what it's going to be like. 30 people in a house.
Yeah. The house does warm up when we have a big group in here.
It's surprising how quick too, hey?
And any house does that. It's not like it magically occurs in passive houses. The difference is that the heat doesn't dissipate.
Yeah.
So
It stays in the house.
yeah.
We should track it. We should actually open all windows and doors. Have you got a sensor in here? And see how long it takes people to get up.
We do. Yeah, it's just behind the
Should
TV.
see
Yeah.
how quickly it actually will hit
Goes up and
temperature
down.
again. Again, but you don't. What for? Though? Like we're not going. That doesn't sell to a client.
Because there's absolutely nothing planned in any of our conversations. If you're watching this video right now and if you're looking at me and Jackson, there's a rammed earth wall behind us.
Yes.
Now, is that architectural feature? Is it thermal mass? Is it how are you selling this thing?
I'm pleased you asked.
Yeah, go. Yeah. That wasn't even
Jackson's got a rammed earth company now.
A lot of our homes end up with round earth in them.
Yeah. 'Cause I've been to a few now. You took me on a tour a couple of years ago.
I love it.
Yeah.
So for this house, it's serving 2 purposes, both of which you listed off already. Looks nice.
Yeah.
It's a piece of art on its own.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's very red. Like I haven't seen it this red through the lines.
Yeah, well, it just depends where
So-
what quarry you come from or how much oxide you put in.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other purpose that it serves is that it's a temperature regulator.
Yep.
So lots of people will go, oh, I'm going to put thermal mass in. And my next question is always, do you want a battery or a regulator? And they're like, what are you talking about? Car parts? And I'm like, no, rammed earth takes an enormous amount of heat to heat it up or an enormous amount of cool exposure to cool it down because of the structure of it. There's all, like you can see that there's solid bits and really open bits.
Yeah.
And so it's containing bits of air in between the mass. And what that means is it stays at a pretty stable temperature. And putting it in the 2-story part means that we get that vertical airflow past it.
Okay.
And I came across all of that a few years ago when someone sent me, one of the round earth guys we use, sent me a study that they did in Western Australia on the performance of round earth in houses.
Yeah.
And they had temperature sensors at all different depths of the wall, and they have wall exposed to direct sun. The surface warmed up, but once you were in 20 mil, it was back to 18 degrees. And by the middle, it was 16. And then,
Wow.
yeah.
Does that slowly make its way through the whole wall, like over
Well,
time?
no, it in that particular study, they found that it hit that peak temperature and didn't really just keep heating.
Do you think this house would perform differently if you didn't have the rammed earth here?
Yeah. I think it would be a little bit hotter in summer, and that's the other thing about passive house is you have to work out the performance of the house before you build it, and it also helps you in costing. So with this house, it's got all of this glass facing east because when it's not raining, there's a great view out there. And
no blinds.
no, so and there's a whole costing reason for that we were able to vet out in the passive house costing and design process. So with this design in winter, it has quite a low heating demand.
Yeah. Do you know off the top of your head what it is?
I think it's 12.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's in the book downstairs.
Is it?
Have a look later. But we were right on the limit with cooling,
Yeah.
and we looked at doing shading over these east-facing windows. And at the point in time that we were looking at that, we'd already costed the house, and included in the cost was 6 kilowatts of solar and the air conditioning system, the single split system.
You've just got the one in here?
Just one.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
does the whole house. And
The 5 kilowatt?
7.
Yeah, okay.
And I think if you had to do this whole house as like a normal house, you'd put in like an 18 or a 20.
Oh, and not only that, you'd be using it the whole time to fight against the outside temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we looked at shading. So we were like, okay, we can spend another 30 odd grand and put shading in. That would have to be retractable, hence the increased cost of doing it. Because if it was permanent, then our winter heating demand went over the threshold. And we worked out that we actually were going to be producing enough solar energy in summer to just run the air conditioner, still be putting power back into the grid, and avoid spending the extra money. So sometimes building a passive house can actually save you going down the solar passive principles road and building a whole bunch of stuff you don't actually need.
This is a good one.
But also still all of that and still getting a certified building.
Yes.
I'd almost say as well, if you're putting hydronic in your brand new house, it'd be cheaper to build a passive house just if you had to run with hydronic heating. Like you're going to spend 50 grand on hydronic heating?
25.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't done it for years.
I'm only familiar with that because that's what the hydronic is costing in our house. We're doing a certified passive house, but it's...
So why'd you put hydronic in? Because this is my next question. You're building your own house.
the negotiation thing. So I've negotiated out a fireplace.
Is this a negotiation with your wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you will never turn it on.
No, and I feel the same way because this house doesn't have hydronic heating.
Have you started building it?
No, we're demolishing it in 2 weeks.
So have you got a polished concrete slab?
No, this is the other thing. We've got timber going over the top. But
With
for me,
overslab insulation?
yeah, under slab.
Under slab
Yeah.
and then timber.
Because this is really good because last night we came home at about 7 o'clock. Nicole, myself, and Noah. We left the front. It's been cold like in Melbourne the last few days. The house, I've been playing with it. I actually didn't realize my HRV was still set to cooling mode. So it got down to 19 degrees. Mm-hmm. Yesterday we left the front.
You poor thing.
I know. So we left the front blind open. So we let them. I know.
Do you want to know how cold mine was this morning?
So by the
would have been 8 degrees.
So by the time I put a pot of water on to heat some eggs up for Noah, it lifted a degree. But because I got a sensor right next to around that area. But what we noticed is we left the front blind open to get the north light in. Mm. Nicole's like, "Oh, Charlie, our dog's must have been laying here. It's all nice and warm here." She's like, "Oh, it's warm here too. Oh, it's warm here too." The slab is honestly, I've been in houses with hydronic heating on the floor. It's the same. Mm. It honestly, as a decoupled slab, I reckon we sit very similar on a temperature when it actually holds. Haven't lived there a winter. That's why I say I don't think you'll ever turn it on.
Yeah. So.
But again, this is
a negotiation.
A part of negotiation.
Absolutely, and
put the wood fire in.
Building this house has been a massive. Well, designing it.
Are you designing it for yourself too, or have you got an architect?
No, so Carly, my wife, and I worked out years ago that it's always good for us to use a third party because none of my ideas get accepted off the bat.
Sounds like this is like Nicole.
Yeah,
it's like
because I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing.
So you're not bringing your in-house design team to design your home?
No, our in-house design team designed our house.
Okay,
that's
and they worked with Carly and I, and
you're a client.
We got treated like a client, and same with building it because I'm too busy running the businesses to be supervising the build.
Have you found many inefficiencies? Like, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? Or you're not looking at it that way?
I learned a few things about our sales process that from the outside when I created it, I thought were great. But then from the inside, I went, oh, we're going to tweak that a little. So there were no like world-beating changes.
Yeah.
What I have learnt along the way is I have this, it's almost like a burden of knowledge and understanding about how the house will work by not only by just knowing how a design's going to work, because you get good at looking at a set of plans and going, that's not going to work, that's going to work great, that room's going to be hot. Like you guys would be able to, I'd give you a set of plans. If I gave you my house plans, you'll identify the 3 major issues and then I'll tell you how we overcame them. But you'd do it in the first 2 minutes looking at the plans. Whereas Carly is focused on the finishes and all of these sorts of things and being concerned about being cold.
Oh, you won't be cold. You'll actually overheat.
I know.
Yeah,
Sometimes too
however,
warm.
Yeah, but I understand where Carly's coming from because I've actually been to Jackson's house and I know where the old one, and I know where it is, and I can understand how that. I've never lived in it.
And it was a nice day when you were there too.
It was a nice day, but knowing the Adelaide Hills and knowing how cold it can get, I understand.
I'd put a wood fire heater in before you do. I'd actually put the wood fire in before the hydronic.
I've got this written down. So can I ask why? Because I would have done the same thing. I would have put a fireplace in.
Right.
If it was one or the other,
Yeah.
one, fireplace is going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
And two,
There's ambience around it.
I don't know. And again, I probably, unfortunately for me, with this decision, I know where you live. And I know the context of where this place is.
Yeah.
And having a fire there, in my mind, makes more sense in hydronic.
This is also crazy because I feel like I'm in your shoes now, having gone through this with Nicole, that I know the conversations you're going to have. And
But
they're all had now. Like, we're up to the demo of the house bit.
But how did you land on the hydronic?
Because we're going to live there until I'm at least 100.
Yep.
at least 100.
Yeah, I'm going to live till I'm 120.
Oh, wait, but
Yeah.
is the next conversation biohacking?
Is that what you're doing?
No, yeah. Well,
great.
I tell everyone I'm gonna work until I'm 110. Then Carly and I'll have 10 good years, and then
It'd be funny if we started 70s.
she doesn't see the humor in it so much. But
This is
I
forever
love
house.
what I do. So so it's a forever house, and I don't want to be cutting wood or buying wood and stacking it and sorting it and lighting the fire. I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, okay.
And I'd barely have time for that now, let alone.
Okay, so that's the rationale for not putting a fireplace in.
Yeah.
Don't you have 4 kids?
Yeah, but
Don't you have a servant?
You have kids?
I do.
Haven't you got a servant too?
Actually, trying to get my son last night to set the fucking table was like, dude, just put the plates there and grab the plates out of there and put them on the table. It's like 2-second job.
So what other things did you have to compromise on? Do you care about the looks?
I care about making sure that the house looks good because I'll be judged on it as a builder.
I know that feeling.
And Carly, one good thing there is that Carly's very focused on how things look and, wanting everything to be nice.
Have you got interior design in-house as well?
So for this house, we used an external interior designer.
Yeah.
That came about purely because our guys were so under the pump.
Yeah, okay.
That we just got to a point where I was like, to keep this moving, and the priority is always the paying clients, not me. Yeah. So we went to an external designer.
And it's good to see how you probably picked up some stuff from that as well, because you're like, oh, we haven't looked at these materials, or have we ever thought about that?
It's a good way to learn some things.
Yeah. Have you gone crazy on the health aspect internally for the future? Like, because I know when we did ours, I was not stopped. Passive house that was a start because we got so many things inside.
Yep.
Have you gone further on that?
Yeah. So we've got there's all the basic compliance things now of 0 thresholds and the like.
Yeah.
We're putting a lift in because it's a 2-story house. All of the hallways are wide and like over 1.2.
Yeah.
And the doors are 920s. So we've done all of the things to make the house really accessible over its life.
Yeah.
My big focus beyond things like EMF and material choice, but which most things now are low VOC
Yeah.
anyway, was actually flammability.
Really?
Yeah, like we're sitting on a couch that would ignite in a heartbeat, and that rug is synthetic as well. You're sitting on a synthetic chair, and there's actually a lot of things that go into houses now that are not great for fire safety.
Like what? What else? Is it the furnishing or actually the home?
Well, there's like the furnishings is one of the key ones.
Yeah.
Rugs and carpets that are all synthetic.
Yeah.
A lot of cheaper cabinetry for some reason is really
High.
flammable. And then of course electronic things that light up, and because they're made out of plastics, which are petrochemical products. And it all started when I watched a video on LinkedIn where they had two houses. One was furnished like the 50s.
Another video that you're talking about.
And the other one was furnished with modern stuff, and it reached, I think they call it flashover, in a very, like, under 30 seconds. Whereas the one from the 50s, you could still wander around and hose things down.
But on the flip side of that, though, is you have nothing that's like igniting in a passive house because it's generally all electric.
Yeah, but he's got 4 kids.
Well, running around with a lighter, are
Maybe.
they? Or a blowtorch.
I don't know.
Maybe.
But you are right. I don't know the stats, but I imagine that a lot of house fires now are caused by electrical faults.
Or burning candles or...
Can I ask, and circles back to something I've got written here, part of the construction of your home, or I don't know, there is some structure that's going to be CLT.
The whole thing.
The whole thing CLT?
Yeah.
So...
Exposed?
No.
So, but also, I want to try and unpack this CLT thing, because we've looked at CLT a bunch of times and it never stack up from a cost point of view.
Yep.
And because I'm assuming you're going to be
You're paying
least
for it.
110 mil thick CLT, 120. All right. So then, how much wood fibre on the outside of that, or rock?
So yeah, we're doing bass rock on the outside.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And
This is rendered.
rendered finish.
rendered finish,
so
yeah.
100 mil of bass rock, and then
What is bass rock? Just rock wall equivalent, like stone wall?
Rock wool, and then you render it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's like a stone wall, yeah.
yeah, same thing.
So there's an R2.5 externally then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. The reason that we did CLT on this house is we've got the upper level is bigger than the lower level.
Yeah, okay.
So there's only the two ends of the house. The walls are shear walls. They go all the way up, the whole length. But the front and back overhangs.
Yeah.
So it meant that we had a lot of cantilevers to deal with, and that meant a lot of steel structure. And it's like a square shape with the really fine, like, eyebrow look.
Yep.
Yeah.
And trying to
Sounds like you got a really low pitched roof here too, Jackson.
Yep.
What
So I've done a whole bunch of things that people are like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
How low is it? Is
There's-
it 1.5?
no, 5.
Okay.
That's
okay.
fine.
Method to my madness.
Okay. I have absolutely no doubt that every decision that you've made has a calculated reason behind it.
Yeah.
This is why I'm interested.
Comes
'cause-
from knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, when I looked at how we make all those cantilevers work, it meant a lot of steel.
Yeah.
And then just the detailing complexity went,
Yeah, okay.
and lots of need for a lot of foam. And we're in a bushfire prone area. We're at the top of a hill. There's a whole 7 acres of forest below us.
What's your bow level there?
It's bow 19 where the house is.
Yeah.
But you've obviously seen
Yeah,
from us
yeah.
is. So there was a big importance on avoiding things like foam on the outside of the building.
Yeah.
And CLT ticked the box for the cantilevers because it's basically like using tilt-up concrete.
Yeah.
And made the structure a lot easier to just fix insulation to the entire outside of it, and it's all rock wool.
But also racking forces, if you're on the top of a hill, like you're going
Yes.
to get some pretty high winds.
Yeah, so, and that's been something that I've really pressed on the engineers. And as I've gone through detailing, there's a few details on the windward side of the house that everyone's like, fuck, that's a bit overkill. I'm like, you haven't lived here when it's sideways rain.
Yeah.
It's,
What windows?
Logic House.
Have you there?
So it was my first Logic House experience.
Have you had the meeting yet?
Yeah.
It's intense, isn't it?
It's all done. They're on the boat.
Did you have to have a nap after it? Were you just like, whoa, that's intense?
Yeah, it was a lot.
I'm just imagining a conversation with Jackson and Harley. Like, I'd love to be a fly on the wall there. Like, just details.
I like Harley. Harley's really organised.
Their method is...
And orderly.
Yeah.
And they'll arrive the day that they tell you 26 weeks in advance.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know.
They literally... I have them in my house. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Where are you getting the CLT from?
Next Timber. Timberlink in Mount Gambier.
Yep.
So they... they made the most sense because they're local.
Yep.
They do a lot of CLT to Victoria from there. And it's been a pretty good process with them as well.
So any exposed CLT anywhere?
No.
Not even on like a ceiling?
No.
Is this a touching point for you? Like you really wanted to expose it? Is this one of the things you had to give up on?
No, it wasn't. So when we moved into the house that we're living in now, which Hamish has briefly walked through, it's all pine matchboard everywhere.
I see you've had that.
And I just couldn't... I get that lots of people really love it, and that's great. It's good on them, but it's not my bag.
Are you having him in timber inside, or is it like white walls? Like what does it look like?
So this is where I've accepted what is desired.
Yeah.
So it's mainly going to be white walls there's bits of stone, feature stone through it.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of money going into the cabinetry.
Yeah. Okay.
To finish a house off, and I'm a big proponent for cabinetry. It really finishes a house off. It's worth spending the money on.
Yeah, totally.
If you're going to spend money on areas of the house, you spend it on the thermal envelope and the cabinetry and everything else.
Joinery is generally about 10 to 15% of a project cost on average, I would say.
You must have a really cheap cabinet maker. I got to get his number.
No, but on like the average client,
right?
Not your place. If you took the average client, would you say it's 10? 15?
Well, I'm talking about our average client.
Oh yeah, geez. You put a lot in then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
What's the build time?
The build time, in the way that we've scheduled it, is currently 10 months.
Wow.
I actually think we're going to do it a lot quicker than that, because one of the X factors for us is how quickly we'll get the CLT up.
Okay.
I think we're going to get the CLT up in about 2 weeks. And everyone else is like, no, it's going to take a month, it's going to take 6 weeks. I'm like, that's how long it takes to frame it.
Yeah.
It'll be, So the other thing too that my construction manager and the site manager that's running the job, I've got them. They did the first schedule and it was about 12, and then we pulled it back in a few spots. And then I said, once that CLT's up, we can start fit out inside while you're doing BASROC and rendering and all of that stuff. And so I said, you can have work going on two fronts. And on that site, we've got all the parking space in the world. We've got all the drop downs because it's 5 acres. So there's no...
Store stuff.
Yeah, there's no limit on having stuff delivered early. So I'm really hoping that we'll be able to pull it ahead. But yeah.
I mean, I know we probably didn't sit here talk about how you're going to build this thing, but I'm curious about how the CLT on the roof's sitting. Is it 120 on the roof as well? Or you got to
no, it's thicker than that. It's 160, I reckon.
So there's a 160 roof, and you've got that at a 5-degree fall.
Yeah, with Adhero on the top.
That's going to be my next question. Is the whole thing Adhero?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to get the structure up and then just Adhero the shit out of it?
It'll come with the Adhero on. So when it all
great.
awesome. It'll be a big blue box with a few bits missing.
And just
like on the back side of parapets and stuff that we'll then we'll Adhero on site.
It's going to be my next question. You're building in the Adelaide Hills, and I'm trying to work through this timing.
Oh, and in winter too.
Yeah, the CLT is going to be going up in
it's going to be
August,
12
I'd
months.
imagine. And it will,
Yes,
I don't know, July.
3rd of August.
Yeah, great. See, picked it. And I'm like, it's going to be raining like all get out. How are you protecting
It's just got a great
So there
Grand
you go.
Designs episode written all over it.
Well, one of the reasons that originally we were not going to start the house until October, so that we got into the dry part of the year.
Yeah.
The reality, it's like when people say to me, "Oh, you know, we don't want to start in winter because like you can't concrete in winter." I'm like, you know, they have to earn an income all year round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But also, it doesn't rain every single day in winter.
no, and we're building a house that's going to be constantly drying out.
Yeah.
So,
And once you're locked up, it doesn't matter if it rains every day. Once the CLT's up in membrane, like you're set.
Yeah. No, that's. I've got no further questions, Your Honour.
I didn't think you were going to ask me this many questions about the house.
Oh, but I'm curious.
I thought this was going to be like a business conversation.
Well,
but
it can be.
Well, what did you-
We're
your house?
talking about business now.
All right. So what's something that we should have spoken about that we didn't
Yep.
talk about then?
I have no idea. This is the hard thing. You guys made me fill out this form, and I was a bit panicked because I didn't think Hamish was this like
We just
anal retentive.
we
with
just
his
pretend we
podcast.
are.
Did I tell you that Jackson messaged me on a
This
weekend
is a
one
panic
day?
text from me.
Well, on the weekend, I was working at my house, he was working at his house. I get this video going, oh man, I filled this form out. What do you want to talk about? I go, all right, that's really just a formality, and it's just fallback stuff.
Did
And
you
that's-
read the form?
I did, and that's where I got the CLT from. So I'm glad that you did fill the form out. But I'm like, dude, me and Matt are probably the most organised, unorganised people you'll ever meet, and we're just going to have a chat.
So we had Jesse Clark a few weeks ago, and he's like, "What are we talking about? I don't know. We'll work
We'll
out
find
tomorrow."
out as we go.
And so he sits there, so what are we talking about? And we're like, "We don't know."
We don't
Except
know.
for we're live, and we're like, "What do you want to talk about?"
He's like, oh, shit.
So let's touch on business, because you do have some pretty big business aspirations. Like, at the moment, one thing that I'm trying to like nail in is my financials. It's something that like knowing my numbers, because it's all for so long it's been in the back of my head, and I'm just like, I know it, but it's never there for me. Like, where did you start to learn about all that sort of stuff, and how did you educate yourself on those sort of things?
So way back, I went and started studying accounting at uni.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't get through the degree because it got a bit boring.
Yeah.
Hang on, tell me, which part of accounting got boring?
It was when we got into
What?
like international finance, and it was starting to
I'd
not
find that
relate to
interesting.
anything I wanted to do. So I kind of come from an accounting background. I love the numbers and understanding financials. And I got really lucky when I started Enduro because I stumbled on the Association of Professional Builders.
Okay.
And I worked with them for the first 5 years, I reckon, of the business. And they have definitely got it dialed in with construction company financials and what's important to watch and
What's not.
what's not.
Do you still work with them?
Yes. So I had a few years where I went and worked with someone different.
Yeah.
And then I've just recently started working with them again. This time around, our focus isn't about that fundamental stuff.
Yeah.
We're talking about next steps with the business.
A scale.
And in particular, one thing that APB are doing really, really well right now is their R&D on the use of AI is the best of. They have a guy he's the ops manager for the business.
Yeah.
But the bulk of his role is developing AI tools and developing AI training.
Okay.
So, but back to the financials. So, like, the key thing that most builders miss is that what their work in progress is.
Yeah.
Which is essentially an accounting adjustment that you should be doing every month to find out whether you actually made a profit or not, because it adjusts for your actual liability for the work in front of you.
And most tools like Wonderbuild have it built in now, but you should still run a separate spreadsheet, which I've learned.
So Wonderbuild will knock out the WIP.
Close enough.
I got to be careful not to upset Hashi, but he knows that we're finding it very clunky to manage the numbers really well.
Yeah.
So there's there's work going on to. I think that one thing I've learned is that I think lots of builders are happy to accept quite a bit of sloppiness with their numbers, whereas we're not.
That's my problem. I don't want sloppiness, and that's where I'm starting. Is like, where do I start? Because I would want something.
So, I mean, obviously financials by every job, getting that WIP number, making that, it's basically a manual journal entry every month, which adjusts your cost of goods sold so that you get a true figure for where you're at. And it also corrects your balance sheet.
Yeah.
So, but for profitability, it's really important. And making sure that the total value of your WIP, you should have at least that amount of money in the bank. And if you don't, you're in real strife. And I looked at buying another building company last year, maybe the year before, and he gave me his financials, and I went through and calced his WIP based on his work while we were sitting there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you're about 500 grand in the hole. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're at some point in the next 12 months, you're going to run out of cash. And we then agreed that it wasn't going to buy that liability. And 6 months later, I was chatting with him, still chat to him. It was just one of those things that didn't work out. And he said, yeah, you know that comment you made about the... He said, we're trading through it, but had you not said that, I would have not known that was coming, and I was actually partially prepared. It's still hurting me.
Yeah.
So that... If you ever thought that what I said about WIP being important is not important, that story alone, and because I knew how to calc it, I did it while we were sitting there at the table, and I was probably, I might have been correct, give or take 50 grand, but that didn't really matter in the scheme. And if you know that number, then you know whether you can sleep well at night or whether you need to start looking at your OPEX or look at getting more work on.
And did you learn that from your accounting background, or is that from...
That was APB. The WIP thing was all APB. I knew what WIP was and I knew how it worked, but calculating it properly, I learned from APB. Would never have learned it without.
So you've invested a fair bit of money in coaching then over the years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you found that it's worth it, or...?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had as many years where I've gone, I can't believe I'm spending all this money on coaching. It's not doing anything for me, as I've had where I've gone, I suppose I got something out of it. But then when I look back over the last 10 years and I go, the business has consistently moved in the direction that I planned for it to move in. And that is entirely down to having a second source of accountability and someone that you can talk to about the things of the business where you don't have to hold anything back because you're paying them to be the sounding board. And in particular, working with a coach that works with other builders, they have a good knowledge base to draw on. It's like giving an AI context. Like a coach that is in the industry has the context of a whole bunch of other builders that have the same problems, different problems. Builders that used to have a problem, then they grew and now they got another problem, and they can see that you're going into a similar place so that you can...
They'll catch it before you know it's even a thing.
Yeah. So there's a lot of problems that I probably avoided hitting altogether purely because of coaching.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it's a big pill to swallow some months, especially when good coaches, you spend $4.5-5 grand a month, and you go, man, I could hire 2 VAs for that.
Yeah.
Or I could have someone part-time in admin for that.
That's my brain.
Yeah. And my brain goes there all the time. Yeah. But here I am still working with a coach.
Yeah, I mean, and that's interesting.
Plenty of shit coaches out there too.
How do you identify a shit coach then?
That's tricky. I think one of the first things is I really notice people that are organised and that have taken the time to understand me. So they rock up at the meeting ready to talk about something, and rather than ready to sort of sit down and go, okay, so tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
If I get that, and I did have that with APB at one point. So I jumped in and did some coaching with them, and that coach was a bit like that. He doesn't work there anymore, and that part of that was probably because of my experience with him.
Yeah.
But he just, to give you an idea of a bad coach, he looked at my stuff and was like, yeah, no, you look like you're going well.
He's like reactive.
Yeah, there was no show me the evidence that you did that.
Yeah.
Show us what you worked out. You said you wrote these procedures. Let's have a look at them. And a good coach will do that and be completely unapologetic when you go, a good coach will go, it's either done or it's not done. Yeah. And that's how I've been coached. He's like, there's no maybes.
That's how I'm in footy, like yell at me. Tell me when I've done something wrong. I'm old school. I don't want to be like, oh, they could try. Like, fuck off. Tell me that was shit. You need to be better. Like, I'm okay with that. It's not personal.
Yeah.
They're actually there to help you.
Yeah. And there are other coaches around. It's just obviously for me right now, APB is top of mind.
And you should change. I feel like I've never done coaching, but for me, it's something that you kind of want different coaches over different times, so you just don't get stuck in the same thing.
So my last coach I started with in 2020.
Yeah.
And finished up with him in it was January this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I got to the point of saying, look, I want to finish up coaching.
Yeah.
He was like, I was kind of thinking that we'd hit a point where I'm not adding any new value. He said, there's other things I could do for you.
Yeah.
But I think that you're probably ready to kind of graduate out of working with me.
Yeah. Which is good.
Which I thought was, really good of him.
Yeah. I think you should put a timeline on it.
True, but I reckon it's different for every person.
Yeah, it is different for every person.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up, you touched on systems and processes really quickly just before. I know you just touched on it. Now, I know that you've got you've got your business pretty dialed in from a systems point of view.
Yeah.
How important are systems and processes in a business that wants to scale?
That a similar level of importance as having blood in your body.
Just checkmate.
No, I think I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
We've actually got James Brown coming on tomorrow from
Right.
Systemology.
Yeah.
We've already interviewed what's his name? Dave Jennings.
Yeah.
And like we're actually on this massive journey at the moment of completely systemizing our business.
Yeah.
And the more I get into it, the more excited I get, and the more I look myself in the mirror every morning and say, why the fuck didn't you do this 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, it's so important.
Yeah.
And when you think about all the things that need to happen within your business, how much easier that would be, how much clearer your head would be, is if all you needed to do was go in, look at your diary and go, I'm doing these 3 things today. Oh, yeah, I know where to find that system.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, lots of people talk about it. You right?
That camera's just gone.
Yeah,
for
weird.
some reason. It's all right.
Well, what lots of people say, lots of business coaches say, it's about freeing the founder. Put systems in and free the founder. I actually look at it from the other way, which is when you hire your team and you induct them into what the systems and processes are and what the policies are, they know where they stand and they know what to do and they know how to do stuff. And they actually enjoy work more because they're not standing there going, oh shit, how do I do this?
Let's finish this off. We have a segment called The Mindful Moment, sponsored by MEGT, Australia's leading apprenticeship experts. Hamish's camera's died, so he can still talk. So one thing that I've noticed...
Probably better that my camera's off, then I won't distract everybody with my good looks.
Yeah, so you got a haircut as well for Adelaide. Anyway, I have an issue with apprentices going and buying these really expensive cars, spending $70,000 on a brand new Hilux as a second-year apprentice. Like Ranger, whatever. Any car. Like, I think it's a waste of money, personally. I think if you're a young kid studying apprenticeship, go buy an appropriate car for what you need. Don't go buy one of those Holden SSs that the tub on the back. Go get a van. Go get something that can actually store all your tools. That's also going to be cost effective to run, but is going to work for you. Now, I respect that as a young tradie that you're also probably out and about on weekend and doing things in your personal car also becomes your work car. But don't waste your money on a huge car and an expensive
you know
car.
what? If I had a first, second year apprentice and they rocked up in a van, and it could be like a 2010 high ace van,
Perfect.
and it was decked out, I would have so much more respect for them than if they rocked up in a brand new Ranger.
I just don't understand it. It just seems to me like just such a waste. It's a classic young kid in that sort of fictitious Instagram. Look how good I am with my brand new.
now.
I'll get Jackson's take on this too. They might come back and say, yeah, well, it's a tax deduction.
It's not a tax deduction as an
It's not
apprentice.
a tax deduction if you're an employee.
It's more than your yearly wage, so therefore it's not a tax deduction.
Yeah. You can look at it different ways, right? You could say they now have a car payment, so they're definitely going to keep rocking up at work. You could also say they've got a reliable car, but there's plenty of scope for older reliable cars. I think it's what you're talking about is a generational thing. That's hard to. I agree with everything that you said, but it is something that I work on with my kids a lot. Is that it's okay not to have everything the moment that you want it, and that's always made more difficult because they're living in this place where we're building a house and we drive nice cars and all these things, but it actually brings it home to me to make sure that like my kids see me fixing all of my old stuff and keeping it going.
Yeah.
And like the old truck that I bought that I keep on the road by hook or by crook, and that helps them to go, yes, you can have nice stuff, but pick your nice stuff and
look after it.
Things that everything else you look after. But it's also too that I would never quickly judge an apprentice if they rocked up in a brand new car, because they might have had their parent in their ear saying, "Oh, now you got a job, get a new car," and it might not have been them, or it might have been their mates.
Thanks for challenging us there, Jackson. I do appreciate that. So
I actually agree with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jackson, thanks for coming on today.
No worries.
What's the best way for people to get onto?
The Enduro Builders Instagram.
Yep.
Which is easy to find. Climasure, which is Climasure SA.
Yep.
On Instagram. That's
and that's for all the Pro Climber products if you're in SA.
Yes, yeah. And we sell some cavity closers that we make ourselves, which are Bushfire compliant, good in the corrosion zone.
Yeah, amazing.
All that.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for going on.
And thanks for letting us record in your
display home. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Also, if you are listening and you're in South Australia, how can they come and have a look at this home?
The easiest thing to do is book a tour through the website.
Yeah.
And we are looking at, we've got some additional staff coming back from mat leave soon, and we are looking at opening it on the weekends when she's back.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers.